This is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue, and I am Jennifer Sonko. Here are the main news headlines. $37 million worth of medical supplies were presented on Wednesday to the Ministry of Health by the World Health Organization to help improve health care in the Gambia. At a press conference on Wednesday, the Gambia Transport Service Company unveiled its new fleet of buses and the contactless electronic Tamala passenger card and order services. We hear from Captain Fatu Jaite Balde, Executive Officer at the Naval Headquarters, on the challenges of being in the Navy and what has kept her going. International news. At least 17 Nigerian soldiers were killed and 20 injured in an attack by suspected jihadists near the Niger-Mali border on Tuesday. In sports news, football agent Cherno Samba says it will take at least 3 weeks or more for Adama Bojang to be ready for action in the French league after signing a 5-year contract with Stade de Reims from Steve Biko. Now, those were the main headlines. Now the news in detail. Do stay. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is QTV News and I'm Jennifer Sonko. Now, $37 million worth of medical supplies was presented on Wednesday to the Ministry of Health by the World Health Organization to improve healthcare delivery in the Gambia. The items were presented by Desta Turune, the WHO country representative. Lena Igwenyiba has the rest of that story.
The donated supplies consist of state-of-the-art computers and PC tablets to modernize surveillance systems and data management, the provision of essential laboratory consumables, and advanced medical equipment will help address healthcare needs and help to save lives. Desta Turune, the WHO representative, reaffirmed his organization's commitment to enhancing the health and well-being of the public.
As we reflect upon this occasion, it's good to note that the World Health Organization stands firmly as your steadfast partner in advancing healthcare excellence. Together, we shall continue to navigate the intricacies of the healthcare landscape, working hand in hand to ensure that health remains universal right and a beacon of hope for every Gambian.
Dr. Ahmadul Lamin Samate, the Minister of Health, commended the substantial work of the WHO in the country. He emphasized the alignment of WHO's efforts with the Gambian government's healthcare policies, particularly in providing essential equipment for health facilities.
WHO, being a fundamental partner of the Ministry of Health, has been very, very supportive in the provision of life-saving equipment, donating up to us what we need, because that's very important. So these donations follow an extensive needs assessment done by the WHO and the Ministry of Health to look at what we need. And that is why some couldn't even wait for the official handing over today. They've been distributed before today because they were highly needed. So that is actually what makes these donations very, very beneficial.
Dr. Momodu Nyasi, the Deputy Director of Health Services, expressed gratitude to all stakeholders for their invaluable contributions, recognizing the significant impact the supplies will have on healthcare.
I extend a warm appreciation to each and every one of you. May this gathering be a shape of inspiration, collaboration, and growth to shape our health system under the leadership of the Honorable Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmadul Lamin Samate. As previous speakers mentioned, no one can move the health system alone. It needs collective effort. So with our common sense of hope, common sense of purpose, common sense of direction, I'm sure we can move this health system together.
The theme, Building Partnerships for Quality Healthcare for All, serves as the cornerstone of the country's national health policy. Medical supplies are crucial for providing patients with quality care, from basic equipment like blood pressure cuffs and stethoscopes to advanced tools. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena Igwenyiba.
Now, at a press conference on Wednesday, the Gambia Transport Service Company unveiled its new fleet of buses and a contactless electronic Tamala passenger card and other services in a bid to provide quality and convenient services for customers. And Sumane Sonyasi has more.
Established in 2013, the GTSC provides safe, reliable and affordable transportation services in the Gambia and beyond. And over the years, the company has introduced services to improve customer convenience. At this event, the Finance Director and Acting Director General of GTSC, Balamin Dabo, among other things, unveiled the new fleet of buses called Kairaba buses, which are fitted with security cameras, air conditioning, amongst other features for passenger safety and comfort. Mr. Dabo also revealed that in addition to the new buses and the Tamala electronic card, the company is rolling out a new student transport service to ease transport challenges for students commuting long distances, especially within the Greater Banjul area, and went on to disclose that talks with the Ministries of Basic and Secondary Education and Higher Education are at an advanced stage to expand the school service.
It is also anticipated that it will provide and it will also lead to educational opportunities, which will also reduce the daily commuting difficulties for students. Now, it has also the advantage that we actually think that it will have is fewer road accidents, which involves students, pupils, and of course, a decreased stress and travel times.
According to Mr. Dabo, as well as the existing routes, border villages such as Koina and even parts of Senegal will now benefit from GTSC bus services, and to ensure customer convenience, bus stop shelters such as this one are being constructed at strategic locations across the country.
Now, in addition to that, we have increased some of our new routes, and some of our new routes which are very, very important, and they are to the general public, which is very, very important for us to note. We also have a Koina service that moves from Kanifing to Koina, when we usually only stop at Basse. We also have Bambali, a new service which will form a ring around Lamin Koto and Farafengi. We also have another new service which is also through Kaur, Kanifing, through Farafengi as well. These are all new services that we intend to create more as far as the buses availability are there, but we want to serve the public.
Modu Lamin Fati, the officer in charge of marketing, also revealed some of the services they offer and gave assurances of their commitment to provide reliable and convenient services for customers at all times.
Just to highlight further that the bus shelters are not far apart. Okay, the bus shelters are not far apart from the bus stops. If you check around Telening Ahmadiyya, you will see a bus shelter is erected there. So these are strategic locations. Not every location you'll have to put a bus shelter, because the bus shelters have to do with demographic. Where the people are, that's where you will put the bus shelters.
After the press conference, journalists were given a ride in one of the Kairaba buses to experience the convenience customers will experience aboard the buses. GTSC has one of the largest infrastructures in the country's transportation sector and has proven to be a dependable service provider over the years with the cheapest transport tariff in the country. Ansmane Sonyasi for KTV News.
Now, despite the challenges of being a woman in the military, Captain Fatou Jaita Balde, Executive Officer at the Naval Headquarters, has risen through the ranks. I engaged her on the challenges of being in the Navy and what has kept her going. History records that on March 17, 1917, the first woman to enlist in the U.S. Navy was Loretta Perfectus Wash. In fact, Wash was the first woman to enlist in any of America's armed forces. Until Wash's enlistment, women had served as Navy nurses but were civilian employees with few benefits. Women have grown in navies from serving as nurses to now giving the command across the world. Fatou Jaita Balde, Executive Officer at the Naval Headquarters, is a role model for women aspiring to join the Gambian Navy. Captain Jaita tells us how it feels being a woman in the Gambian Navy.
It's all about discipline and hard work. If you are working with your men, for women, we know that we are integrated in the Gambia Armed Forces because it was a men-dominated area. Because incoming with the 17 intake, I was among the first batch of 17 intake, selected by the Nigerians then before the July 22nd takeover.
Family planning, a lack of independent care, sexism and sexual assault are among the top reasons more women leave the military than their male counterparts, according to a report from the U.S. Government Accountability Office. Captain Balde says there should be ways to encourage women to enlist in the Navy.
I encourage all women to come and join, because this is a noble work. You can do it and earn your respect, provide everything for your family and your parents. So I don't see why we are not coming and join the Gambia Armed Forces. Maybe they were afraid, and it was not meant for women. It was only for men. But when they said peacekeeping operation, all gates are open now. In the sub-union, wherever you go, you see women in the armed forces and other services. So with UN, I think they have also played a very vital role.
We engage Captain Balde on the general challenges in the Navy, which can discourage people from enlisting.
We need capabilities. We need good vessels to be able to protect our sea 24/7. Because you know these activities, all that is happening at sea, sometimes they know that today Navy is not going. They will come and do whatever they want to do. The moment they had that we are coming, they have agents everywhere. They will have information that the Navy is coming out, so they will go. So that is one of our sharing. The public needs to know that the Navy is here for the public.
In an ideal world, conversations about representation of women in security and leadership roles should not be necessary, but the equal society we envision is still in the future, though it is one we are progressively approaching. It is essential to recognize the progress made towards gender equality, especially in industries where women are underrepresented, such as the security industry. However, despite the increasing awareness of the impact that women can make in the security sector, there is still a long way to go in achieving gender diversity and inclusion. Navy leaders want women to take up a quarter of the force within a decade. They say reaching that critical mass will improve the Navy's talent base and will aid in countering problems like workforce harassment, and they will be offering deals to entice more women to sign up and stay in. It is hoped that the Gambia will also implement more encouraging policies to attract more women into the security sector, particularly the Navy. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basonko. Now from that story, we will go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we have local, international and sports news. Do stay.
Inco Home Choice. Home Choice. Bagage bu baax mooy def liggéey bu baax te wóor te soo ko jëndee dina la yóbbu ci diir bu yàgg te du gaaw a yàqu. Inco Home Choice ñoo leen indil bépp xeetu bagage yi judduwaay yi ngeen mun a jëfandikoo ci seeni métier yi.
waaw ñun Inco fii leen di jëndee suñu bagage yi Inco lañ yombalee bagage yi dañ ko baax quality bagage lañ lay jaay moo tax ñun liggéey bu ñoo def electrical plumbing boo ko ji Inco fii leen lay ñëw Brikama ñu jënd suñu bagage ñu bàyyi ko ba ci Kustam Serekunda fii waaye fii leen lay ñëwee bagage lu waral loolu Inco dañ yombalee bagage number 1 number 2 seen bagage yi dañ baax dañ quality
bagage yu si mel ni power tools accessories bench tools generator yu baax welding machines ak small construction equipments muy bagage yu baax yi ngeen mën a jëfandikoo bu ngeen ay samp ay kër.
Parce que Inco mo fene la bagage so quality la garantie bi la bagage so bagage nya san nimi satije mi ta fengo min na Inco ma so to janga man Gambia janga ma so folo den nga ñoo ma koy akole la nya wonyandi be nga wuli nga na Inco nga bagage so san
seet si leen ñu si suñu maakaan yi nekk ci biir réew mi foofa sa Jinpex Kanifing Sukuta Jabang traffic light ak Brikama opposite Joko night club wala ngeen call ñu ci 532 5773 wala 341 7619 wala 739 8863 wala 303 9300 wala nga email ñu incogambia@gmail.com. ak Inco Home Choice jafe-jafe ci wàllu bagage yi ngeen di jëfandikoo ci seen métier yi jeex na. Inco Home Choice. Inco Home Choice.
In today's fast-paced digital world, staying ahead of the competition requires the latest technologies and skills. That's where QIT comes in. Our programs include Certificate in IT, Diploma and Advanced Diploma in Microsoft Office Applications, Cisco A+, Graphics Design, Database Administration, Systems Administration, HRM, Business Management, and Marketing. We have a range of internationally certified online courses. Our special weekend classes provide the flexibility you need as a working professional. We offer specialized IT training to corporate institutions at our state-of-the-art conference room, or at a location of your choice. Our affordable facilities are also available for rental with free and fast internet. Call us at 3100918 or 3800918 to start your journey today. QIT, turning your potential into credentials.
Welcome back from that commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I am Jennifer Sonko. Now, Bekanyang, in collaboration with the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights and the UNDP, commenced a 3-day training on Wednesday on human rights for teacher coordinators across the country. Lola M. Kamara has the details.
The training brings together 40 Human Rights Club teacher coordinators from across the country to enhance their capacity and foster a culture of human rights awareness among students. Organizers say the training also seeks to strengthen the overall impact of human rights clubs in schools. The executive director of Bekanyang, Famara Jaune, reveals that in 2018, his organization, in its drive to promote human rights education in the Gambia, established human rights clubs in 10 senior secondary schools across the country, targeting young people.
As of this year, our human rights clubs have increased from 10 in 2018 to 48 human rights clubs across the country. As a human rights organization, we are committed to advancing human rights education and fostering a culture of equality and social justice in the country.
Jundu Drame, a representative of the National Human Rights Commission, the Gambia, expressed delight in taking part in the training. He encouraged the participants to take the course seriously, emphasizing the important role teachers can play in human rights advocacy.
Once upon a time, this country was regarded as the beacon of human rights. In fact, we were so notoriously excellent at respect for human rights that we have the seat of the African Commission here. But we have the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, also referred to as the Banjul Charter, all because of the role that the Gambia and the first president played. So your work as human rights educators syncs very well with the mandate and functions of the National Human Rights Commission. So I can say we are actually partners in this crusade.
Adam Ajimba Job, Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Education, thanked Bekanyang and partners for what he describes as a laudable initiative.
We have a lot of children who left school because of abuses. And what are the forms of abuses? Child to child, child to teacher, child and the society. These are all problems that children are undergoing in our society, and sometimes it's difficult for them to talk about it. Then there is where your role as educators come in, as Mr. Drame said. You are agents of change.
Aissatou Cissé, a participant and teacher from Soma Lower and Senior School, said she is grateful of the opportunity to take part in this training. Over the 3 days, participants will be introduced to topics such as human rights concepts, principles and standards, sexual and gender-based violence and reporting sexual harassment in schools. Madi Jabate and Falu Sow are among the trainers. Participants are optimistic that the training will help boost their knowledge of human rights issues. For QTV News, Loli M. Kamara.
Brilliant initiative there. Now, from that story by Loli M. Kamara, let's take a look at news beyond our borders. At least 17 Nigerian soldiers were killed and 20 injured in an attack by suspected jihadists near the Niger-Mali border on Tuesday, according to Niger's Defense Ministry. Children Jai tells us more.
A group of the Niger armed forces were ambushed near the town of Kutugu while moving between Boni and Torodi. According to a statement from the ministry on Tuesday, the wounded soldiers have been evacuated to Niamey and that a mopping operation is still in progress to flush out the jihadists. The army reaffirms that on the site of the attackers, 2 columns of more than 50 motorcycles each were destroyed, and that is to say, more than 100 terrorists neutralized. This is the deadliest attack since the July 26 coup in Niger that toppled elected President Mohamed Bazoum. The soldiers who took part, headed by General Abdurrahmane Tiani, mainly put forward the worsening security situation and bad governance to justify the coup. For years, this part of Niger has been regularly targeted by attacks from armed groups despite the massive deployment of anti-jihadist forces. Before the coup, France, a former colonial power that has 1,500 soldiers in Niger, was actively involved in the Nigerian army in the fight against these jihadist groups. Meanwhile, Niger's military-appointed Prime Minister Ali Mohamed Lamin Zaid made an unannounced visit to neighboring Chad on Tuesday as West African states plan talks on possible military intervention to reverse his country's coup. In a statement issued after meeting Chadian President Mahamat Idris Deby, said Zaid had brought a message of good neighborliness and good fraternity from the head of state of Niger's regime. Regional tensions are deepening as the standoff between Niger and ECOWAS shows no signs of diffusing, despite signals from both sides that they are open to resolving the crisis peacefully. With the threat of an ECOWAS invasion after the junta ignored a deadline to reinstate and release Bazoum, residents in Niger's capital, Niamey, are calling for the mass recruitment of volunteers to assist the army in the fight against the regional bloc. Last week, the junta said it was open to dialogue with ECOWAS after rejecting the bloc's multiple efforts at talks, but shortly afterwards, the junta announced they will charge Bazoum with high treason and also recall its ambassador from neighboring Ivory Coast. ECOWAS defense chiefs are expected to meet this week for the first time since the bloc announced it will deploy a standby force. For QTV News, I am Julden Yai.
From that, let's take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. Football agent Cherno Samba says it will take at least 3 weeks or more for Adama Bojang to be ready for action in the French league after signing a 5-year contract with Stade de Reims from Steve Biko. He was speaking to Momoto Gajaga in an interview on Q Sports. Here's more.
Talented Gambian under-20 forward Adama Bojang signed a 5-year contract with French Ligue 1 side Stade Reims under the guidance of his representative Cherno Samba. According to the former Gambia international, who is now a football agent, it will take some time before Adama is ready for action, as he wasn't included in Reims' league opener against Marseille on Saturday.
So for Adama's case, he's coming from Gambia, he's coming from Africa, he's missed the preseason. What I would like is for them to integrate him slowly, because he will need at least 3 to 4 weeks to make sure that his body's right, his mental state is right, he's settled. Then they can, ease him into training slowly until he's adapted to certain situation, and then he can kick on.
The Gambian youngster was on the radar of bigger clubs like Chelsea, Tottenham, Newcastle, amongst others, according to the British press, after his spectacular display at the AFCON Under-20 and FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Argentina. How did he end up signing for Reims? Cherno Samba explains.
Stability is everything for a player. So I made sure that, Stade Reims is a stepping stone and he can go there and do what he needs to do. And God willing, inshallah, he does what he has to do. And then hopefully he'll climb the ladder and come in the Premier League as an established player instead of coming as a youngster.
Cherno Samba says a hunger for success at the highest level of football is what can get Gambian footballers to play in the best leagues and top clubs. He gave himself as an example of being content with a little when you can go for more during his playing days.
What we do is we have a little bit and then we're content with it and we don't push to the next level. This is the problem with Gambian players, and it's including myself, because I was part of this system as well. So I did the same and I did those kind of mistakes. And this is why the Senegalese, the Nigerians, the Ghanaians, they are far above us in terms of football-wise and where they play. And that's why you don't see Gambians consistent at the highest level, because of we are so content with the easiest and the littlest. You look at the likes of Yaya Toure, when he won the African Cup of Nations, he could have said, all right, I've done all of it now, I've done it, and he stops. But he pushed on, pushed on, pushed on. He keep on doing. Where if it was one of us, if it was probably me, myself, I would say, all right, that's it, I've won African Cup of Nations, I don't need to push anymore.
Cherno Samba also played for England at youth level and for clubs like Plymouth Argyle and Millwall in England and Cadiz in Spain. In addition to being a player's agent, he is also a certified UEFA Pro licensed coach. Hopefully, other clients of his can make that move to the big leagues. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News.
Congratulations to Adam Abojang once again. Now, before we leave, let's recap our main headlines. $37 million worth of medical supplies were presented on Wednesday to the Ministry of Health by the World Health Organization to improve healthcare delivery in the Gambia. At a press conference on Wednesday, the Gambia Transport Service Company unveiled its new fleet of buses and the contactless electronic Tamala passenger card and order services. We heard from Captain Fatou Jaita Balde, Executive Officer at the Naval Headquarters, on the challenges of being in the Navy and what has kept her going. And in international news, at least 7 Nigerian soldiers were killed and 20 injured in an attack by suspected jihadists near the Niger-Mali border on Tuesday. In sports news, football agent Cherno Samba says it will take at least 3 weeks or more for Adam Abojang to be ready for action in the French league after signing a 5-year contract with Stade de Reims from Steve Biko. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Join us at 10 for another bulletin. Thanks for watching and have a great evening.